Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Summa ma ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allazi khalaqa sab'a samawatin tibaqa ma tara fi khalqir rahmani min tafawut farjil basara hal tara min futur. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. We continue our discussions on this amazing surah, and summa alhamdulillah that we are passing the third day of the Ramadan and third night actually. So previously we discussed about the creator of death and life. Today we are going to Allah suddenly changes the topic. I'll give you the rough translation first. The one who created the seven skies, heavens, tibaqa, layered one after another. We'll discuss that word. Ma tara fi khalqi rahmani min tafawut. You will not see in the creation of our Rahman any flaws, any tafawut, anything that is missing. Farji'il basara hal tara min futur. So return your gaze back and see, do you find any futur? So it seems by the basic translation, the mystery that was there, Allazi tabarak, Allazi, the one who even in this ayah, the one who Allazi khalaqal mauta, tabarak allazi biyadi. We didn't know who it was, but it seems now Allah have finally told us who it is. Ma tara fi khalqir rahmani min tafawut. You will not anything in the creation of our Rahman, So the name that Allah chose to introduce this Tabarak, the discussions we had these 2 days, all the mighty characteristics of this Malik, and the name he chose to tell us is Ar-Rahman. You would have expected Al-Zabbar, Al-Hakim, Al-Aziz, there are so many names, but no, he chooses Ar-Rahman. No matter how amazing and how awesome and how divine he is still Ar-Rahman. He is still incredibly merciful, gracious to us. So that's a mystery that has been unfolded. And let's go. So one thing is, what does sky have to do with the creator of mouth and life, Haya? And the same thing happened in Surah Al Baqarah. Kaifa takfuruna billahi wa kuntum amwata fa ahyakum. And then he says, summa yumitukum, summa yuhikum, summa ilayhi turja'un. So how can you disbelieve in Allah when He is the one who gave you life after death, and then He will cause you to die again, and then He will give you life again, and then to Him you will return. Then huwa allazi khalaqa lakum ma fil ardi jami'an summa stawa ila samai fasawwahunna sab'a samawat wa huwa bikulli shay'in alim. The creation of life and the one who gave life, the one who will give death, to Him He will return. And then mention of Sab'a Samawat, 7 skies. What could be the connection? Now many Mufassirun have done many things to explain this, but one thing in common is, look, life to death, it's a continuous process. And the word Tibaqan that has been used here, Tibaqan, it comes from the Jahada, the form 3 family, and it's a Masdar. Forget everything. The thing is that this is the meaning will give. There are 2 ways we can say. It could be consistently after one another, and another meaning that is agreed upon is that there is a space between a layer, one layer, some space, one layer, some space, like that. So it's a sequential continuous thing. Let's relate it with life and death. So we didn't have life, and then Allah gave us life, and we moved to death, right? And it's a gradual process. And I'll give you some analogy about this. So One thing, and another thing, that is Allah didn't say rukaman. That's just a word Allah used in Surah Al Nur for clouds, scattered. He didn't say khalaqa sab'a samawati rukaman. He said tabtibaq. So there's actually no scattering. It's consistent, it's solid. Not solid. It's not like the clouds scattered, It's layered upon layer. So it's perfect. Seven skies one after another. He mentioned the number. So it has something to do. Just like these, life can be sometimes. When you think of the sky, what do you think of first? If we think of the sky, we think of a huge morning sky. We don't usually think of the sky as night sky because we don't see anything. So whenever we think about the sky, we think about a huge lighted sky. And where does the light of the sky come from? The sun. Recall Allahu nuru samawati wal earth. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. So it is as if the life, if the way we continue, sometimes the sky is cloudy and there is no light. Sometimes in our life it can be cloudy. For example, the current situation, the sky is covered with clouds, just like our life is covered with clouds. We can go anywhere, but does the cloud eventually go away? Yeah. And something happens with the clouds. It either rains, thunderstorms, so something happens. There is an effect when it's not just there's nothing in the sky that's irrelevant. Even if there are some clouds in the sky, the least thing it does is it protects the sunlight from coming, either completely or to a state. Just like that, when something happens in our life before death, in the gradual process of life, there are effects of it. Maybe there is an effect of this current situation as well, but we don't know. And then sometimes life is shiny and sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes the sky is shiny, sometimes it's dark. Life is in the gradual process of life and death, this will happen. And then again, these are some of these analogies are my own, so you can completely disagree with this. And then you have stars, moon, sun, etc. that light up the sky, right? And Allah says, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. It's as if just like how Allah's lights up the sky and you completely appreciate the beautiful sky, it is as though also the light of Allah, the Nur, the Qur'an and His light can enlighten you, and people can actually see you enlightened. Does that mean I will have light coming out from my body? No, but I will have spiritual light coming out from me or from you. So your presence will make people happy. Your words can make people happy. Your light, your spiritual light can enlighten other people. People are depressed and you speak something and they get enlightened, they feel happy. The beautiful connection between Sabwa, Samawat and the gradual process of life and death. And there are other ways to explain it too. And I already told you that the mystery has been revealed. But of course, there is a connection between being Ar-Rahman and the perfection of this Sabah, Samawat, Teen, Tibako, right? Look, if there was some flaw in the skies, for example, you saw the sky, there is a gap, there is a crack, and rain does, sometimes rain falls, sometimes fire falls from the sky, and there's flaws. If Allah, with the flawed creation, it's not perfect. For example, the sun is cracked, just imagine a sun like this, and then He told us to believe in His words. No, my creation is imperfect because it is a test for you. He could have done that if He wanted, right? All the creation is imperfect, but you have to believe in me. But no, He didn't do that. He made everything so perfect that it becomes easy for us to reach the conclusion that there is only one God. The perfect sun, the perfect skies, the perfect solar system. And sometimes if we look at the stars and we say there is no pattern, but Allah said, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَا وَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. I swear by the setting of the stars. By the way, the setting of the stars, the thing that I swear by, if you had any idea how awesome that thing is. I am about to talk about the Quran, but the thing I took an oath by, Bima Waqi Nujum, that itself is so awesome if only you knew. And when we look at the stars, we are like, oh, scattered, no pattern. But Allah says, if you had only any idea that how awesome the thing is, the thing itself is so awesome. Just like that, you know, it is so perfect, and so it's very easy to reach the conclusion. And that's why he says Ar-Rahman, in the creation of Ar-Rahman, who made everything perfect. So it's easy for you and me to say La ilaha illallah, there is only one God but Allah. Beautiful. And Tara, it's mufrad, you know, singular. So if Allah sometimes talks to people like, why don't you all do this, why don't you all do that, but here he says Tara, you yourself see. So you don't have to go, hey, can you tell me about the sky, or can you find, no, you go. Why don't you go yourself? Because maybe a scientist, maybe I'm telling you all these things, you're thinking like, I don't agree. Allah invites you, okay, fine, why don't you yourself do some analogy, why don't you judge, why don't you look at the sky by your own views? Okay, the clouds, there could be, if there was a, you know, a staircase to the sky, maybe it would have been better. No, why don't you yourself look? So it's forcing us to think individually. Tafawut comes from fawata, so you have, it gives you the meaning like anything missed out. Like sometimes you see a thing and you're like, it could have been better. So your father and your mother, you show them something and like, it could have been better. Arab people, you tell the Arab people, you give a speech to the Arab people and you try telling them, this is how was the speech. You know what you will hear? Yeah, ahsan, walakin, it could have been better. You know, but it could have been better. Walakin something, I don't know what it is. You could have said that better, because they won't just say it could have been, you know, ahsan, it could have been better. No, ahsan, it could have been ahsan. No, they will say something, you could have said that line better. That, so there could have been something better, and Allah is inviting to, why don't you look at the skies and the seven skies, not just one, seven, one later after another. Do you find any futur? By the way, there is something, a little bit of sarcasm, I think. Can we see all seven skies? No. At least till now we can't. And we don't know if we will be able to. I don't know. We don't know. So, if Allah is saying Sabah Samawat, seven skies, and look, do you find? But I don't even have the power to look beyond. I'm so inferior. Like, you need a class, like you need a standard to like judge something. For example, I am a student of computer science. You cannot take me to the hospital and look at this patient. What do you think? Do you think he has mental issues? What do you think? Does he have kidney problems? I'm a computer scientist. Show me a computer, I can tell you all the problems, or most of the problems with it. But you cannot show me something a doctor would do. So you need a standard. But when Allah says Sabah Samawat, I can only see one sky. We humans we barely see the first sky. Like you look at that end, there's no end, and you look at that place, there's no end. And Allah says Sabah Samawat. We're outclassed. Farjil basara hal tara min futur. So return your gaze. Do you find any futur? Do you find any cracks? Do you find any futur? It's interesting word because they sometimes used for escape. So, and by the way, one more thing. Among all this, Allah said Farjil basara, return your vision. Why not Farjil awan or ain? Return your eyes. Why not that? Because we see with our eyes. When Allah says Farjil basar, He is including not only what we see physically, but also what we see spiritually. There are ways. You know the way I see it, this problem is this. Now, do you see a problem with your eyes? No. You ask somebody about COVID-19, you know the way I see it, the problem is blah, 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 blah. So the way not only the way we see physically, but the way we see spiritually is inspired here. Allah says, whether you see spiritually or whether you see physically, do you find any futur? You will not find in the creation of Rahman and Tafawut. Farjil basara, why don't you try looking both spiritually and physically? Do you find any futur? Even in a spiritual gap, you cannot find any problems. And that's why it's easy to say La ilaha illallah. The word choice, Tafawut, futur, and also Tafawut, it's nasab, and also the tibaqa was nasab. So there is a connection actually. So you can actually say the way the seven skies are actually layered, tibaka, even in that can you find any, there is no tafawut. There is no lack of synchronization. These are the meanings that come out. Anything that means doubt, that could have been better. By the way, when you look at thing again, for example, for Jil Basara, you took a look at a hotel room, 5-star hotel room, awesome. But when you look at for hour, 2 hours, 2 days, you find some problems. The water is not working properly. There's a crack on the wall. The more you observe, the more you find problems. But Allah says, why don't you look again? And this time with even spiritual view, do you find any flaws? Amazing. So many lessons that we can learn, that how the sky is supposed to remind us of even the story of our life. Like in everything, is there any problem? And if there is not, shouldn't we be thinking about ourselves? Maybe there is a problem in us. If there is no problem there and we are still not returning to Him, we are still not praying to Him, maybe there is futur in us. There is tafawut in us. The problem is with us, not with the creation. So that's something we have to learn, and there will be more things unfolding in the next ayah, inshallah. I don't want to delay this anymore, or extend this anymore. I will end it here, keep it simple. I want you to, like, you and me, we should both think about this. Today we spoke a little, but there's a lot of things. Let's think, what could Allah mean? Sabah samawat. What conclusions can you come? Life and death, sabah samawat. Here in Surah Al Mulk, then in Surah Al Baqarah also. There must be a connection. And let's find it. I already told you some things that I made up and I told you myself, and also from the Mufassirun. And this is something we should reflect upon and reach a conclusion that there is only one God, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.